Today is a special day, and we have a very special topic, which is self-inquiry, self-realization, and self-actualization. So everything is related to the self, to your true self. And these are the three major steps, which is to inquire within yourself in order to realize yourself. Once the realization is achieved, then there is a path of self-actualization. It is not only to realize who you are, and nobody really speaks about it or thinks about it much, everybody's focused, just realize yourself. But when you realize yourself, what's then? What do you do then? Well, then follows self-actualization, to make your consciousness useful and fruitful. Self-realization alone is very useful already, because the high intensity of vibration already does many things to the world and to the others. But self-actualization is making it useful and fruitful, is to step out of the cave and to meet the world fully. So we will start with the self-inquiry, and I have a new graph which I've been working on, and it will help to clarify a lot of really long and old questions regarding the self-inquiry. So this graph is called Who Am I? The Path of Self-Inquiry. It has been brought to this world by Ramana Maharishi, and here is his photo as well, his picture. And while reading his books and watching his videos, this question has always been very deep and very important. But this question, after working with so many people, I realized that this question becomes really fruitful when the person is mature, when the person's mind is ready. And he would write in the same words that the person needs to be ready for this question. The person's mind needs to be very focused. And therefore, who am I then allows the person to go deeper and deeper. Combining this with a map of spirituality, we can see a clearer picture from the very lowest states of consciousness, which are from the 20 to 199. Going up, we can see very clearly where the identity of who am I is. So the very lowest states of consciousness, which is the victim abuser consciousness on the map of spirituality, if we would ask a person, who are you? The person would instantly say, I am the body. The person's identity is, the person is the body. And I'm sure you know quite a lot of people around who are really identified with their particular body. So there are guys who go to gym and they really show off their muscles, and it's there, it's nothing wrong about the actual body, but the identity with the muscles, this is where the low consciousness is, or where the woman really dedicate their whole life to their body. They don't look inside, they only look outside just to be pretty outside, hoping that everything is gonna be fine. So this is a really, really major one. And unfortunately, the modern society is really reinforcing this body identity through all the advertisements and magazines, and you will see everywhere on TV, you have to look beautiful, your body has to be perfect, you are the body. You know, the media says you are the body, you are the body. So then as the consciousness rises a bit higher, it is also a major category. So the person identifies with the knowledge. So at the very lowest place of that category, the person would identify with their political or even religious views. You know, they would say, I'm a nationalist, or I'm Republican, or I'm Christian, or I'm Muslim, but that would be a very ideological identification. So this would be like the bottom of the identification with the ideology. And even in the human history, there were wars based on ideologies. Many wars were based either on religious ideologies or some sort of political, economical ideologies. So this has played a really major role in human history. However, as the person rises in consciousness, going up to 400s, then the person identifies with the higher states of knowledge. So the mind is quite big, yes. At the bottom are very rigid, very blind beliefs at the very bottom of the mind, where the person believes totally what the media or the politicians or propaganda or whatever is brought forward. However, the mind has many degrees, many layers. Then the person identifies with particular views, you know, so we have many social views, social norms in society, many values, many beliefs, even based on different countries. Every country has a different psychological and ideological views. So the person's consciousness is really influenced. And at the very top of identification with knowledge, we have the scientists and the philosophers. The philosophers, those who have not went deeper than the mind yet. So there is, maybe I would say it's half of the philosophers who are purely intellectual, who are purely analytical and intellectual. They absorb a lot of knowledge and they intellectualize how life is working or how life is supposed to be. So at the very top of identification with the knowledge, we have the scientists who are very intelligent, intellectual, and the philosophers who use only their intellect. However, then as we go higher, we see that there is identification with I am inner wisdom. And then coming to 500s, I am inner love. So inner wisdom is where the higher philosophers go. The ones who listen to their inner voice, who listen to their intuition. So they already step to a higher place of intelligence. I'm also using the very precise words, intellect and intelligence. Intelligence is way bigger than the intellect, because the intellect is a quality of the mind, while intelligence is the quality of existence. So these words are very different by their meaning. At the same time, so this is an explanation in terms of society, but also a person who meditates, the inner wisdom starts awakening. So when you listen to your heart, when you pray, or when you deeply are silent, or when you meditate, your inner wisdom starts to arise. It is that inner voice which becomes louder and louder with your degree of silence. The next step, stepping into 500's inner love. The person experiences the inner love, experiences the unconditional love, and the person says, I am love. I am this inner love. There's also a feeling of the spirit. So the person says, I am the spirit. I am the higher self. I am inner love. So the self-inquiry leads the person to that place. Self-inquiry really begins and becomes very fruitful from 600s onwards. This is where the person's mind already has molded and shifted and shaped, already became very concentrated, already attuned to the subtle frequencies. The person's mind is already open, already sensitive to energy, already has lost a lot of density. So reaching 600s is the beginning of the real self-inquiry. The mind becomes really ripened. The mind, the heart, and the soul becomes really ripened to ask that fundamental question, who am I? So in the 600s, there comes a very deep sense of beingness and a feeling of presence. So when the person asks this question is already asked in a very deep meditative state. And the person asking, who am I, already does not follow any particular thought, because any particular thought is already dissolved in 400s. The person is already beyond the rational mind, the rational thinking. So therefore asking this question is very deep, very, very precise, and already has an energy to it. So in 500s and in 600s, this is the right time to start the self-inquiry, to ask the question, who am I? So in 600s, the identification with this question is, I am presence. I am beingness. The person does not believe in any arising thoughts. The person does not believe in any arising feelings. The person already has transcended these. The person also starts to disidentify from energy, from any particular rising energies, because that question leads straight to the unmoving silence. So once the question, who am I, is asked, there needs to be a deep silence, unmoving silence. And any feeling rising, any thought rising, any energy rising is allowed to be there, but it is not believed to be true. So therefore the person starts to really negate. The person says, I'm not this thought, I'm not this belief, I'm not these feelings, I'm not this energy, I'm not this experience. And therefore the person remains in deep, deep silence, just asking that question and also asking to whom that question arises as well. The next step in self-inquiry is stepping into the I am allness. So you see how it progresses upwards. At the very bottom, the person says, I am this body, this physical density, this physical matter. Then the person disidentifies from the body and identifies with the thought forms, with the knowledge, which can be, there are many beliefs, many views, many ideas. It's extremely unstable because some new information will come in and it will shatter the person's beliefs. It will change the person's view, and the person will experience a turmoil, a feeling of loss. He doesn't know who who or she is. Stepping up into inner wisdom, the person goes deeper inside. That's the inner wisdom, inner love. There's a deeper connection. Stepping up into beingness, into the I am presence, is already the full focus within, but already an expansion without, into the space, into the field of energy. So the attention of the person is already totally shifted from external world into the internal, and then opening love and expanding into the beingness and presence. And therefore, in 700s, it is already defined as enlightenment, as the first enlightenment, and the person identifies with I am allness. So this is where the person can experientially declare that I am the universe. I am all that is seen, all that is felt, and all that is experienced. So that is the universal consciousness. So I am allness is not a temporary experience, but a permanent realization, knowing and feeling that you are everything. You are the whole universe, you are the whole thing. And that becomes totally real, totally true upon reaching the first stage of enlightenment. The second stage, stepping into 800s, is the unknown. The unknown, as we have discussed already previously, it is the void, the universal dark matter, dark energy. This is where the true mysticism arises. There are many sages and enlightened beings who remained in 800s and they became mystics. They really flowered into that mysticism. They said there is nothing more. Life, universe is a mystery. And yes, in their view of seeing, it was a total mystery, because that is a great void. That is the great unmanifested, the dark matter, the dark energy, which comprises about 70% of the whole universe. However, returning to the same question, who experiences the mysticism? Who is witnessing this great void? That takes the person right through that void into 850, which is the pure, loving I amness. The pure, loving I amness. This is one of the most purest love which can be experienced. This is the purest feeling of I amness. It has also been talked about and introduced by Nisargadatta Maharaj. His way of teaching about enlightenment was to focus on this pure I amness. But again, the mind needs to ripen to be able to focus there. So therefore, these stages clarify again even Nisargadatta Maharaj's teaching of I amness. So the pure I amness already has removed the allness. It already has removed the presence or I am beingness or any particular belief, thought, idea. So it is just the purest feeling of I amness. Rising up, we come to 900s, and this is where is the I thought or I exist idea. The idea that I exist. The idea that there is somebody here as the mind, or as any feeling of me, myself, I, or mine. So 900s is so subtle, so pure, that the purest, subtlest feelings of me, myself, I, mine, or I exist can be seen in the clear light. And the person further ripens, matures, meditates to even dissolve these feelings of the I thought. The I thought has been very well described by Ramana Maharshi, and he described the process of dissolution of the I thought. So once the I thought is dissolved, that leads in the final complete enlightenment, which is the Absolute Self, the pure consciousness without any single atom of identity, without any single atom of the thought. Any thought pattern is dissolved. And arriving to the complete and final enlightenment, even the world disappears. The world as being real disappears. So therefore, in my seeing, I am the self, the world is myself, and the world is only the appearance. So this is why it has been known that the world is like a dream. The world is an illusion. Yes, it is here. Yes, it is seen. But no, it's not really real. Because the only reality is God, is pure consciousness, is the self. As you can see, this graph combines the map of spirituality with the very precise knowledge of evolutionary steps of consciousness, with the ancient and the very well-known teachings of Ramana Maharshi and Nisargadatta Maharaj of the self-inquiry. So, anybody has questions arising? Yes.
What about the unknown
Yes.
area? It's just out of interest. Don't people get crazy when they get there? I mean, like lose their minds?
No. The crazy mind states are in I am knowledge or I am knower. This is where people can go nuts and crazy because they so strongly believed in something and suddenly they found it's not true. So the mind collapses. And this is where the person can go nuts or crazy. Coming to the pure unknown, you already don't have any problems with the mind. You know that any thought is not real, any belief is not real, and you just look at the pure energy and the pure feeling. That is way something a lot higher than that. Yeah, so craziness is the opposite of rigidity of belief. The sanity and insanity. You know, these are the opposites of the rigidity of the person's beliefs. And no belief is real. None of the beliefs are real. If you inquire, if you look deeply, none of the beliefs are real. This is also Buddha's teaching that everything intrinsically is empty. Buddhism teaches about emptiness. And if you introspect, if you inquire, you will find that everything is empty intrinsically. And even the science will break down the physical matter into atoms, into molecules, and it will keep on breaking down the energy until you will find that there is nothing. It's empty. So quantum physics says, as soon as you look to the universe, you see it. If you don't look at the universe, you don't see it. You know, so everything is empty, but the observer creates the reality. The person who is observing is creating the reality. So this is why quantum physics is so mind-boggling. And one scientist observes, he gets one result, another scientist observes, he gets different results. And then they figured out that the results depend on the observer, and the quantum field can easily shift and adapt to the person who is observing.
More positive spin than everything is nothing.
Is there a more positive spin?
Yeah, like
The more,
you reach top of this one,
yes,
everything is nothing.
but nothing is full. That nothingness is complete aliveness. It is the void, but it is full. Actually, the 800 universal void is the dark matter. It is 70% of mass of the whole universe. So it is full, it is not empty. And therefore, from the dark matter, the matter is created. The galaxies are created, the planets and stars and all life forms are created. But coming back to the teachings of Buddha, of the absolute emptiness, by that he also means consciousness. And consciousness is the source of creation. So it is completely empty from any matter, but it is completely full of light, bliss, love, and happiness.
That was the positive spin.
That was a positive spin you were looking for, yes.
No, pretend that.
Yes. So when you empty your mind, God rushes in instantly and fills up your mind with light, love, and bliss. So every moment you remove a false belief, instantly light rushes in and fills it up with the truth. This is what happens.
I'm missing where I am on this. I don't know. I know nothing. I don't know. If someone asks me who am I don't know. Trying to find out this one here.
So today we will do the meditation, yes. We will do this meditation and this inquiry, and after the meditation, then you tell me your answer.
Alright.
Okay. Because you need to go deeper to ask this question. Yes.
So then with this emptiness as well, if you don't feel attachments to anything and anyone, does it explain as well the kind of like when you know, some people they're very attached to other people or to places, but when you're not attached to things and to people.
Well, how about being attached to yourself?
It's the gravity.
It's the gravity. How about being attached to your thinking?
That's the better.
Yes. So attachment is a lot deeper than what you think it is. You might be independent from other people, from other situations, but the mind is very attached to itself and to the thoughts, to thinking, to understanding. So non-attachment is even beyond the mind, beyond yourself. When you're completely not attached to yourself, you become full, natural, real self.
That's what happens in
Yes, yes. When you completely let go of yourself, you become free. But your body becomes completely relaxed, completely normal, completely harmonious. There are no false beliefs, there are no conditioned ideas, there are no disturbing energies or any low vibrational emotions. So therefore your body is free. Your body loves to be relaxed, without stress, without tension, without any accumulated emotions or energies. That is non-attachment. So coming to enlightenment is, or simply coming to your complete true self, is really, really healthy for your physical body. Because only then your physical body feels completely natural. There is no interference of the mind. There is no disturbance of the mind. There are no conflicting energies within you, which also then densifies, crudifies, becomes dense emotions, and then they reside and remain. Some people keep emotions for 10, 20, 30 years, and that becomes a disease, illness. So the organs are suffering a lot because of the accumulated dense energies. Okay. Any more questions?
So, I'm trying to find better.
Yes.
And the point that you can hear someone, you can hear the concerns, the problems, everything, but you're still neutral and you don't get the energies moving in and you don't go in sleep with the thoughts. You are
Yes, yes, yes.
more neutral, you're more...
Yes, you're kind of behind yourself. Yeah, you're kind of observing the mind in front of you.
Because you can still think and react and
Yes.
give advices, but you feel like
Yes.
mute.
Yes, yes. So that is already a step, one step behind your mind, and that would be the inner wisdom, where you remain behind your mind and you allow the surface thoughts to be there. It is also in the map of spirituality the higher self. When you step behind yourself, you're neutral, you observe and you allow things to play out in front of you. Being present, I am presence, is a closer relationship with the present moment. So you are no longer behind you, you are here. Here, even with the thoughts arising, you're here. Because at first you need to step behind the mind so that you get the strength. But then you come back and you allow the mind to be as it is. You're present with what is arising. You're present with any thought, any energy, any feeling. And that is a very, very expansive feeling of beingness and presence. So you need to step behind your mind to get some distance. But then being present is returning back to life, back to the mind, and meeting the mind as it is, where it is, and how it is. And you start to really dissolve and work and be with the mind. So I would like just to briefly, very briefly touch on another subject. There are 3 key steps, which is realizing yourself, step number 1. Step number 2 is accepting yourself. And step number 3 is becoming the creator. This comes from the highest place of seeing. This is the formula of transformation of humanity. That humanity needs to realize who they are. Then they need to accept who they are. And then they need to become the divine co-creators. And you can only co-create divinely, harmoniously, when you realize yourself and when you fully accept yourself. When you go through all the dramas and issues of the mind. And this is where comes the full, complete acceptance. Self-realization is like being a bit like a soldier, yes, like a warrior. You really fight with your mind, you negate the mind, you destroy the mind. But then, after the war, you need to accept yourself fully. You need to accept that this is a human form. This is the human world. This is the planet Earth. I'm here and now. I am this body. I am this world. I am humanity. Because I am here. I am this whole thing which is here and now. You see, there are so many paths, so many ways. And many things are useful. For example, in 400s, there are so many practices. And mindfulness and Reiki and this and this and that. There's like 500 different practices which are all really useful. When you arrive to 500s, it kind of narrows down a bit, because then there is about maybe 100 practices which are really useful. Then when you arrive to 600s, then there is only maybe 10, 20 practices which are really useful. And as you go higher and higher, you really narrow down. And at the very top, there are 2 paths. One is the path of knowledge, and the other is the path of devotion. So through these 2 paths, at the very top, you reach the self, the absolute self. Either through the path of knowledge, the inner knowledge, self-inquiry, self-realization, or through devotion, where you flip your mind upside down and you say, I will devote myself completely to God. Because the first path of self-inquiry, you put all your focus inwardly. So you laser sharp focus inwardly. And on the path of devotion, you flip it upside down and you put all your focus on the divine. So I always suggest to use all the available tools. And at every stage, use everything you can, everything that is working for you, everything that you like, to do what you need to do. And as you go higher and higher, there are other practices and other tools and paths, and then you narrow it down to what is more effective and more efficient, and what helps you to grow even faster. So it's a constant process of optimization. Yeah, so just to sum up, there is 7 billion human beings on the planet. And there is 7 billion ways how to see God. There are many paths that lead to God. But once God is realized, then God shines through you. So God will shine in 7 billion ways through the human beings, and every human being in the age of enlightenment, in the upcoming golden age, will be able to manifest and show their way of seeing God, whether through music, through painting, through singing, through dancing, through intelligence. Every person has unique gifts, unique skills. So human beings will be able to co-create the new reality and to bring the divine energy forward. So this is why you need to realize yourself. You need to see what are your best qualities. What are you best at? Maybe one person is very artistic. Maybe another person is very intelligent. Maybe another person is very creative, or very good, has very good social skills. So you need to see what best qualities you have and to reach your highest potential. You know, one person can be divine chef, another person can be divine artist, another person can be divine scientist, another person can be divine geek, computer geek, another person can be divine empath or a divine healer or a divine teacher. You know, so there's 7 billion human beings, and you need to discover your divine self. So never compare or never say that I want to be like this person, and then you need to feel bad that you're not like that person. You know, you need to feel good about yourself, to feel better and better about yourself, and to become best at being yourself. So this is what is meant by becoming the divine co-creators. You need to look at yourself and say, what are the best qualities that I have and how I can make them divine on the highest vibration, on the highest level of consciousness. Because that is you. Okay. So let's come now to the second part, to the meditation of tonight. So make yourself comfortable, and it will be good if you just put your arms neutrally on your legs, just to be neutral, yes. So let's have a few gentle breaths. And as you breathe in, try to connect and to feel your breath. If there is any movement of the mind, it's okay. Let it move for a while. We spoke about many things it needs to digest and process. And at the same time, very gently, bring more and more attention to your breath. And as you breathe, to become more silent. To allow everything to settle. To slow down any movement inside. And slowly coming to the place of peacefulness. And when you're ready, when there is a sense of deep peacefulness, you can ask yourself, who am I? And just allow that question to remain open. Just allow that question to sink in deeply. Allow that question to go right to your soul. Who am I? Keeping it open without expectation. Allowing it to sink and allow the silence to show you the answer. Only the silence will show you who you are. There is no movement. There is no thought. A sense of peacefulness. A sense of unmoving calmness. A sense of excitement, but yet maturing into that deep feeling, into that deep sensing. And don't let your mind move. To stop for a moment. No movement. Don't move. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there. No movement. Not even a needle dropping on the floor. not the slightest vibration, nothing is moving, complete silence. Let your mind ripen without movement. See that you already see your mind. See that you already are conscious. Already aware, already seeing without moving. There is nothing, and yet you are. You are conscious. You are aware. You are perceiving yourself. You are that openness. That silence. There is nothing, and yet you are. Unmoving, unchanging. Absolute self. Naturally you. Without this and that. Unmoving, naturally you. You don't need the mind to be. You already are unmoving. Stillness. You are the pure being. One with everything. Absolutely here. You You are that. Nothing to do. You already are. Beautiful silence, freedom, happiness, bliss. Slowly, when you're ready, you can start returning to yourself. You can feel your legs, your arms. And gently opening your eyes when you're ready. Just a few minutes to integrate. To become friends with silence. Okay. Let's start maybe with Karen.
It's funny how I say about movements because when it's there, it feels like I felt very uncomfortable somehow to move or it. When I was kind of staying towards this time instead of going there, I was like more times going on, more I was coming here and here and here and here. I felt like my body was relaxing, bit by bit. My body was
Yeah, yes, yes.
I still feel like a little bit of part of me. It's still separated.
Yes. This is important, yes. Because at the beginning, your mind and your Kundalini energy wants to move. It can't stay here. Even itchiness or little this and that, it's the mind wants to move. But then, very beautifully, everything was just returning here. And that is stepping into presence. Everything is coming back here. Everything is present, returning to the here and now. So then, instead of your energy drifting away somewhere else, everything comes back here and everything starts to rest, to sink in, to rest, to release, relief. This is exactly what is happening, stepping into presence. Exactly, exactly, yes. Yes. And that is completely correct. As your presence was descending, coming back here, I am here. Yes, you're right here. You don't need to go anywhere to search for yourself. You're right here. Okay, very beautiful. Okay, Adele.
I definitely enjoyed the separation of the mind, not joining. It's like it's getting quieter and quieter. Thoughts felt very
Yes,
like you're looking at a very far away train or something. So
yes,
I feel like that's it's just trying to give you a feeling.
yes.
Just very quiet.
Yeah, and relaxing into that quietness, yes. Without movement,
No movements.
no movement.
No movements. Nothing really is there.
Yes,
And at first you're kind of entertaining some kind of colours. Everything was
yes. All entertainment goes away.
all what?
All entertainment
Yeah.
goes away.
And it was okay.
It's totally fine.
It's totally fine.
Yes, just being here, being now quiet, allowing all entertainment of the mind to dissolve, to fade away.
Where this huge bliss turned into immense light, and there was a recognition of I am the light. Like I just saw a light, and that light was me. And it kept just flooding and flooding and flooding until some point it kind of stopped this huge intensity and started to embody. There was this like embodiment happening for some time. And at some point it just kept going, where all of a sudden from behind me there was a huge pull, huge, but like so strong that all of a sudden I
huge sense of awareness behind me became here.
Alright.
So something huge has shifted today.
Yes, yes.
It's like
It's a blast out.
it's completely a blast out, and this like huge pull from behind me just opened up a new space.
Yes, yes.
Like the awareness is like it's like there as well, and
Yes.
it's just like something like that.
Yes.
It's a Malta.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, that is a perfect description of exiting the 800s unknown, the void,
Okay.
into. It's a perfect description how you exit it and you step into the purest being of awareness. So it does happen like monumental, cosmic, universal, grand scale exiting and blissing out, and blissing out. During these days, I would be blissed out maybe 4 hours and I couldn't move. Just like, I'm totally not here, but fully immersed in bliss. And as I would come back, then everything is like there's 1,000 watts right behind my eyes, you know. So it comes like on and off. Like every month it would come like that. Yeah, so this experience today is a perfect example of exiting the void, the unknown, and stepping into the pure awareness, the pure being, into the high 800s. Yes, it's very cosmic. Alright. Well, that was the purpose. To make it very simple, very plain, and to show these steps of the inquiry, who am I? Because I've seen so many people struggling with that question. They ask that question and then they make it into a belief. I am that, I am that, I am that. They go in the street and shout, I am that, you know, and I say, you're brainwashed, you're not that, you know. just to keep it like simple, you know. So sometimes, yes, you know, it's good to know what you are in between that. And, you know, then you can start sensing, I am the presence, I am the beingness, I am allness, I am nothingness, I am ness, I amness, the pure I amness, or simply I thought, I. So this is how it goes. And it's not a belief, it's not a being convinced that I am this or I am that. It is actually being that, actually experiencing being that. So this is what makes it real, to actually be that. That's what it makes it real. So only then you can declare, I am that. Anything before that is it's a mental being convinced, you know, that you're that. So yes, there are so many people, millions of people who practice self-inquiry, and unfortunately they get a lot of disappointments or a lot of confusion, or some of them believe that they're already that and it's wrong, they're not. So it removes all that confusion which comes along it. and all disappointments as well. So the purpose is to bring clarity and simplicity. Then it makes life simple. You know it, it's there, you know the next step, it's there, and it makes life simple. It removes doubt, confusion, worry, disappointment, or false egos, running around and saying this and that. So that is the purpose, simplicity.
And it gives one the freedom, flexibility to move as well.
Yes.
So you don't really identify, like you're more connected with that state of being at that moment. And then, is it, would you say it's like that?
Yes, and
it's not a fixed kind of
it's not a fix, no, but when you meditate, for example, you can tune into I am allness, for example. And you know that, wow, in my meditation I was there. And now I just need to remain there more and more and more so that that becomes fully real. So right here you see where you're tuning into. And right there you see I need to return right there where I was before. To keep on staying there and let it become real. And once it becomes real, then right away you know, all right, there's another step, so let me tune in higher. So you're always clear, you're always clear. And it also really supplements Ramana Maharash's teaching of the question, who am I, and to show these stages of maturity. He has spoken in a very Indian way, and he has clarified a lot of Indian philosophy, a lot of yogic traditions, a lot of meditative practices. He has done all the clarifications as according to the Indian philosophy, the Advaita spirituality. And this makes it a lot simpler for the Western people, for the rational thinking, for those who approach it in a scientific way as well. So it really simplifies the Indian spirituality into a simple way of understanding it. And it makes it more available as well, without any particular terminology of any particular spiritual path. And at the same time, of the teachings of Nisargadatta Maharaj, he was always pointing right away to the pure I amness. But again, the problem was that there was very few people who could tune into that pure place of I amness. So they would need to mature beforehand. So again, it clarifies where he was pointing and why people, yes, they need time to mature to be able to step there. And in his teachings, again, he was speaking about the great unknown, the void, the deep sleep state, then the pure I amness as a way of final stage before reaching the absolute self. So Nisargadatta Maharaj would say, just stay in the I amness, just stay there until everything dissolves, and then you will become the absolute self. So that is totally true and totally correct. And before that, there are many steps as well to reach that place. It is always also good when we co-create and co-participate in this huge energy, is at the end is to dedicate it or devote it to God and to well-being of all humans and all beings in the universe. Is to dedicate this high, intense energy that came here today for the healing of humanity, for the healing of the planet Earth, for the peace in the whole universe. So may it be so, and may we set this intention and dedication all together.